Happy birthday, Sonic the Hedgehog! The Blue Blur turned 25 recently, so I'm gonna celebrate this monumental occasion by taking a look at some rad ROM hacks and pirate games. Let's start off with a few that I received from a fellow YouTuber named SeanTendo64. Sean makes really good reviews of reproduction carts, and I'd recommend checking out his channel, which I'll post a link to in the description. Anyway, it's time to rev into gear with that awesome jam, otherwise known as... Okay, Sonic Eraser isn't exactly the strongest note to begin with. In fact, it's not even a ROM hack. Sonic Eraser was official downloadable content for the MegaNet, a Japanese exclusive online service, but I figured that I'd talk about it here for the heck of it. Eraser is a pretty standard puzzler. There are blocks with a variety of shapes, they disappear after two of a kind are matched up, and there are external variables such as mystery blocks to raise the stakes. In the single player mode, the iconic hedgehog and his doppelganger face off in a versus battle and will clobber their opponent when a combo is racked up, resulting in chaos and confusion. I'm far from a puzzle expert, but I managed to get a few minutes of fun out of this Sega obscurity. Fans of the genre would probably be better off sticking with Dr. Robotnik's Mean Beam Machine though, especially since the music, if you can call it that, is pure metallic noise. Sonic Megamix from Team Megamix is the true high note to start off a ROM hacking journey. Megamix is basically a reinterpretation of the original 16-bit entry in the series with fresh ingredients blended in to create a virtually brand new experience. It had me right from the stellar 3D Blast theme song and kept me hooked with the inclusion of Mighty the Armadillo and the badass Supreme Shadow. Mighty emits an energy shield and Shadow can double jump, while the homing attack and spin dash have been added to the main hero's bag of tricks. Sonic Megamix certainly lives up to its name and helped establish the formula for future hacks to follow. Don't let the title screen fool you, this isn't your average Rocket Knight adventure. Replacing Konami's signature protagonist in this Super Nintendo mod is none other than the birthday boy himself. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Sparkster is a 1998 pirate cart from the Twin Eagles group that, as far as I can tell, is merely a simple sprite swap. I've never played the actual Sparkster, but I have fond childhood memories involving the Opossum's initial Genesis release, and this does a decent job of capturing that vibe. I wish that Twin Eagles had made alterations to the plot that were centered around Sega's mascot, but I'll give it a pass due to the limited technology they were working with. Sparkster Cross Sonic is a novel idea now, but I'd still recommend the download for old school platformer junkies. Twin Eagles is back at it with Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Preceding the legit fourth installment in the franchise by 14 years, this pirated hack of Speedy Gonzales and Los Gatos Banditos maintains the gotta go fast attitude, which isn't surprising since the Warner Brothers license tie-in is the closest the Super Nintendo came to replicating the mythological blast processing. Sonic collects rings as usual, but the objectives of Speedy's quest are carried over, meaning that our hero has to eliminate foes with a fierce kick and free captured Marios in order to progress. The concept is totally trippy, but I enjoyed it, and the quality is exceptional for such an early mod. Bravo, Twin Eagles, bravo! That covers all the carts that Sean gave me. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Sonic hacks, and I'm now going to feature a number of those found on sonicretro.org. Of the seemingly infinite fan-developed mods that sonicretro.org has to offer, the most prominent are the sprite swaps. For example, did you ever wish that Knuckles was granted the spotlight in the original title, or that Shadow had made a 16-bit appearance? Well, thanks to Stealth and Felicia Val, these dreams are now a reality. Knuckles glides, spin dashes, and climbs, showing his rival how it's done, and Shadow rolls along in its rocket shoes like a boss. E122 Psy similarly brought Amy Rose and her trusty hammer onto the Genesis, while Sally Acorn from the cartoon blasts their way into the sequel. Neither of them possesses their friend's set of skills, but it's interesting to see how their strengths are used to clear the familiar obstacles. Sally isn't alone in making the transition from animation to pixels, as Bunny frickin' Rabbit takes the stage in all their cybernetic glory. I've always thought that Bunny was cool, and E122 Psy knocked it out of the park by doing her justice, but Lone Devil provided some heavy competition in the form of the phenomenal Somari the Adventurer and Metal Sonic Hyperdrive. Somari the Adventurer is essentially a Mario and Sonic crossover that derives from a pirate Famicom game. In typical Mario fashion, the journey begins in the Mushroom Kingdom, complete with a Genesis rendition of the famous Koji Kondo tune. But he enters a pipe upon finishing the level, and... brilliant! Somari joins his console war adversary along with Kirby and Lone Devil himself in Metal Sonic Hyperdrive. As far as I can tell, Metal Sonic Hyperdrive borrows the least amount of assets from previous titles, and the resulting product is excellent! Every character has unique traits and attacks that are executed perfectly, the visual design is truly amazing, and the music is some of the best I've ever heard on the Genesis! As far as the more conventional hacks go, Metal Sonic Hyperdrive is easily the king, and I strongly suggest giving it a try. And now for something completely different. If you've ever wanted to step inside the villain's shoes, Dr. Robotnik's Creature Capture by Marky Jester finally allows us to do just that. As Robotnik, we have to ensnare all of the small animals and deposit them in the capsule before the meddling hedgehog rushes in to thwart our fiendish scheme. Creature Capture is the simple but genius premise, and I can't recommend it enough. Speaking of genius and simplicity, Vade Pega's Sonic Boom hilariously fits that description. The sprite has been altered to match the style of Rise of Lyric, and nearly every action is accompanied by a sound clip from that notorious Wii U game.
Look at all these rings! Rings! It's like they're drawn to me. Being a role model is overrated. I'd much rather be hilariously edgy. Yeah! Love it! You gotta press this button. Boost pad. Bouncy, bouncy! That is cool. Here's a bounce pad. Here's a bounce pad. One more ring to rule them all.
The repetitive verbal nonsense may wear out its welcome to some people, but I loved every minute of it.
Good night. Okay, ready, set, go.
Sonic Boom definitely covers the wacky end of the spectrum, but the weird is epitomized by the bizarre Atomic Sonic. I could try to sum up what makes Atomic Sonic the eccentric piece of work that it is, but I'll let the footage speak for itself. It's horrifying! yet beautiful. I think this might be what hell looks like, a never-ending loop of an MS Paint Green Hill Zone. I need to move on before my brain breaks. Closing out this review is perhaps the oddest mod of them all. The title screen gives no indication of what lies ahead. It's the same Sonic 2 intro we've seen 1,000 times. And the game itself appears to be hunky-dory until... oh my. This, my friends, is Sonic 2XL, a Captain Bozo and Ranger collaboration. The blue blur becomes the blue blob upon collecting rings. The normally life-sustaining rings are now the protagonist's biggest enemy, and they have to be avoided at all costs, which is nearly impossible. Sonic will inevitably gain weight and slow down to a snail's pace, losing the height of his jump and spin dash in the process. He'll eventually die from what I can only assume is a massive coronary after ingesting too many onion rings. But fortunately, the question mark blocks that are scattered across the area will alleviate the obesity. Sonic 2XL is one of, if not the hardest Sonic game ever made. It flips all of our natural instincts on their head, and it becomes a challenge in itself to survive by not gaining any rings. It's sadistic, but I can't get enough of it. I was only able to get to Chemical Plant Zone in the 20 minutes that I spent with it, so that's saying something. Sonic 2XL is an absolute must-play. There we have it, a celebration of all that is Sonic. From the extraordinary sprite swaps to the sheer insanity of Boomed and 2XL, the developers did a fantastic job and deserve a round of applause for these mods, which can be downloaded for free right now. I highly suggest checking any or all of them out, and I guarantee you're gonna have a good time if you do. Anyway, now that I've wrapped up this much requested review, I believe I see the LJN rainbows shining in the sky. Be sure to come back for that, but until then, this is Matt, aka Cygnus Destroyer, signing out. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, click any of the boxes on the screen right now and you'll be able to watch a few more of my videos. And if you haven't already, be sure to click that red box right there in the corner and that'll subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to keep up to date with all of my current content. Thanks again, everyone.